Welcome to Peculiar Stories, where we explore the fascinating world of near-death experiences and offer new perspectives on the meaning of life and death. Our goal is to shed light on these profound stories, deepen your understanding of life, and provide valuable insights to our audience. Whether you're new here or simply joining us again, we're thrilled to have you on this journey. If you enjoy what we do, consider subscribing to our channel to stay updated on our latest content, and don't forget to hit the like button to help our content reach a wider audience. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be transported to the edge of life and beyond. Hey, this is my near-death experience due to head injury and fight. Before my experience, I was more or less an atheist. However, religion was interesting to me, so I tried to read the Bible, but I did not understand it. But I can say that I had no worries about hell and heaven, and was able to take life easy. The factors in my childhood that affected me tended to be positive, nice ones rather than negative bad ones, so I had developed into a positive sort of person. This is my own personal opinion. On February 1990, I was at a public party where I drank a lot of alcohol. There was some trouble during the party, so officials called the police to help them. 2 policemen escorted me from the party and took me outside the building where they asked me to remove the sign from my jacket. It said, Havel for president. He became president after that. This was immediately after the Velvet Revolution in the Czech Socialistic Republic, at a time when every policeman had to be a communist. The situation at that time was unclear, both for the revolutionaries and for the police too. So our discussion was quite difficult. But I have been a hero, I was thinking. No wonder I disagreed about removing the sign. They decided to remove it by force, and that's when the fight started. Well, a drunken man without weapons has no chance to win against 2 policemen with truncheons, billy clubs. I got hit again and again, the last blow landing on my head. Probably, I'm not sure. I do not remember much because I was drunk. I do remember that I fell down. I was thinking in my mind that this was the end of me, so I continued lying there on the frozen grass. I heard one of the policemen saying to the other, "You killed him." I lay there for some time until eventually I noticed this sleepy, drunken man lying alone on the grass. I thought to myself, why he is lying here? He could freeze. I'd better wake him up or get him indoors off this frozen grass. I must do something before something serious happens to him. But as I examined his appearance to see if I could identify him, I thought, that's strange. This man has my shoes and my jacket on, and he has the same hair as me too. It took me several moments to comprehend that the man was me. It was the first time I had ever seen myself from a distance. It was a shock. Then I realized that I had no idea how to get back into my body, so I decided to find somebody who could help me. My wife? As soon as I got the idea of going home, I was home almost in that same moment. My kids were sleeping in their room, and my wife was reading a book in the bedroom. She twitched when I came into bedroom, turned her head in my direction, trying to figure out what she had felt. But she was in no way able to see or hear me, so I decided to return so I could rescue my body. When I got back, my body was still alone in the same place. Suddenly I got a feeling of freedom and peace. I felt completely well and my panic was gone. Soon, I saw a small bright point above me, which seemed to beckon me to go nearer to it. After a bit, I felt myself being pulled toward that light, and my movement toward it increased in speed. Right at the start, I was moving quite slowly, but the speed increased until I was flying along. The speed was so high that I thought it might kill me, and I felt that I was flying to the end of space. I was going so fast that all the objects which were passing me created in my mind the impression of a tunnel. During my flight, I had a special experience of knowledge, because whenever I had a question, immediately I got a nonverbal answer. When I reached the bright light, I was immediately surrounded by this light and became a part of it. I was engulfed by the feeling of the extraordinary love. I became aware of a being which was an ingredient of the light and which was nonverbally communicating with me. During our discussion, there were no secrets, because the being knew all my secrets. In fact, he knew everything I had ever done. This is a place where lies do not exist. The being knew all my life from the time I was born up until that moment, every second of it, and everything I had been thinking that whole time. Suddenly there appeared a panorama of my life. We both watched it and communicated about it non-verbally. This was strange for me, watching myself as a separate person. So, when the other person, me, did something bad during my panorama, I immediately thought, that person was cruel or ugly, etc. It felt really horrible for me to be making these judgments of myself. I felt the influence of words I had said and things I had done to other people in the past, so I was crying a lot. Fortunately, the being was comforting me with a lot of love. After the panorama was over, I was informed that I had to go back, because I had to do more on Earth. I started crying again, thinking, why do I have to go back, when I am feeling so delightful? I do not want to go back to that dirty world where it is so beautiful. It did not help. The being showed me some things from my future to convince me that there were urgent reasons for me to return. I didn't know how long I had been there, because there was no time there. It could have been 1 hour, but also 10 years. Then I found myself above my body, which was being tended to by an emergency doctor. Suddenly I was back inside my body. 2 or 3 sneezes and back to reality. They probably would have liked to have taken me to a hospital, but I stood up and just walked away. The next morning I woke up with a thick head and a strange dream in my mind. I thought it was very strange that my spirit had not been drunk. I could remember very clearly everything from the time I was in my spirit, but nothing of what was going on with my drunken body. 2 or 3 years after my experience, my life had returned to the way it had been before. I had almost forgotten the dream, until one day I opened a small publication in which was written some sentences from the new edition of Raymond Moody's book. I immediately recognized that the dream had not been a dream. At that moment, all the love and the whole experience resurfaced into my conscious mind. I was shocked. I experienced a strong feeling of the invisible presence of somebody full of love. I started crying and I asked, "What do you want from me? Tell me, please. What shall I do to become as nice as you?" No answer. But soon afterwards I felt an urge to open the Bible, and I began to read. And almost right away it all became clear to me. That is when my life completely changed. Since then, I've always tried to be as helpful as I could, to be an example of love, and to make whomever I could happy. However, it was too hard on my body, and in October 2012, I had an infarction, heart attack. 5 years later. I tried to tell my wife about it, but she was not curious at all. My kids know about it. I think they are living in a more spiritual world than I was at their ages. Some people are glad to hear about it. I hope they are influenced positively. Some people think I am stupid. Mostly people with dishonest lives do not want to hear about it. They become very fidgety when they have to listen to my story. I don't take care. They should know about it anyway. Every day, every time I am trying to make a decision, I consult with the people involved. Before my final decisions, at home or at work, I always try to measure the good and the bad effects, what will turn out well and what will turn out badly. If it seems that it will be good, then I consider how many people will be influenced, how many people will be happy, and how many unhappy. The majority must be always satisfied. This is my priority, even though 1 or 2 of my friends or relatives might be unhappy. Now I no longer have enough strength to continue my ascetic life because I need to start thinking about taking care of myself. But how can I change what's in my mind when I know the way is to the bright light, where all doubts about love end? I know I really have nothing to worry about from death, about being there again. It will be so nice for me to meet the light being, so full of love again, at the same place as before. Even though I may have built a nice home for my wife and 3 kids, have 2 grandchildren and a successful life, my real home is there. It cannot be forgotten. I think about it every day. Watch this video next about a woman who had a near-death experience twice at a different age.